Monica Cavallaro back with Cake Flicks, and I'm from Moorish Cakes, and today we are making a buttercream cake. We're doing like an ombre pink thing happening. It's like a bit of a take on an ice cream cone cake. The only difference is we're going to use maybe wafer paper and a couple little meringues just to have a little bit of fun with it. At the moment, as you know, a lot of people are not celebrating parties, but they still want something small. So this is something really cute that you can make at home with everything that you have. Now, all the recipes that I'm using today are on my website. So this cake is I'm just trying to remember what I had in there. I've got alternate layers of caramel cake with vanilla butter cake, and then in between there's salted caramel, Italian meringue buttercream. Oh my god, Italian meringue buttercream is my favorite, with organic vanilla bean in it. And as I said, the recipes are all on my website. If you go to monicacavallaro.com, you'll see the recipes there and you can have it a go. So all I've done is just totted this up. Yes, there is sugar syrup in there for anyone who's followed my other lives. So it's really going to be delicious and soft and moist when you cut into it. All I've done at the moment is I've just crumb coated it. It's been sitting in the fridge just for about 10 minutes to get ready for today. And here on my bench, I have a couple of different shades of pink. And I've used the color mill, which I forgot to bring with me because I'm just so organized. I've used the color mill to color them today. And all I did was I mixed up the buttercream in my KitchenAid, and I added in like a drop or two of the color mill. I took some of the buttercream out, added a little bit more color, took some of the buttercream out, and I kept on going until I got the darkest shade. So my plan today is to do like a little bit of an ombre effect up the side of the cake. You don't have to use bags. I normally use the biodegradables, but these is all I've got left of the plastic ones. So I thought I might just knock them out and use them for today. All right, so what I wanted to start with was probably a darker color on the bottom and then go all the way to light. The reason being is that I've got some really cool little wafer paper flowers here in different shades of pink. So I thought it would be great to have the darker on the bottom, we kind of get lighter, and then we have like this color display on the top of the pinks. And then we're going to have some fun with the actual ice cream cone as well, just for something a little bit different. So I'm going to start with the darkest pink on the bottom. Now, as I said, you can just use an offset palette knife. You don't have to do it with the bag. As a matter of fact, this is probably one of the first times I'm doing it with the bag. And what we're going to do is a nice little circle around. There's one, and then we'll do a second one. And we're going to scrape the majority of that off anyway. I've got a tall scraper here ready to go. So I'll pop that one aside. And then I want the next shade up. Now I literally have coloured these like 1 to 2 drops difference in the shade. Oh, the dog's here. So that was the idea, that I wanted it to be quite subtle in that colour ombre coming up. I'm sorry guys, you guys can hear Kiki barking away over there. She got a little bit hypo just before we were about to start. And believe it or not, I know you can probably hear her really loud. She's like on the other side of the property. But she's a little yappy dog, so you're going to hear her. Oh dear. Okay. We'll go another one. It's a lot of buttercream, isn't it? Okay, 2 more. Massimo, there's my son. If you don't stop playing with Kiki, you're going to be in so much trouble. There will be...
I'm trying to stop her, she won't.
Oh, we can pick her up and go upstairs to your room with her then.
Last time I did that.
Okay. Oh, kids. Okay, nearly there. Got to admit, I actually quite like this effect as is. But I am going to put the colour around it, and we're going to run the scraper all the way around. This has just gone a little bit less than what I had in mind, and then I'm just going to use the rest. Oh, sorry, I literally attacked you just then with the back of the buttercream piping bag. All right. You know what? I think I might just leave it as is. I'm kidding. I like it just the way it is. So now with a tall scraper, I like a metal scraper personally. It's up to you what you like. I'm a huge fan of tall scrapers. Mainly because in Australia, they really like their cakes tall. So I'm going to keep on going around because I still want to keep the volume of that buttercream on there until I tidy it up. All right, so that's already got a really nice ombre effect happening. Now, if I have some areas that have air bubbles, because I am using Italian meringue buttercream, it has been sitting here for a little while, so I do have some air bubbles in. If I was closer to the sink, I'd go and heat up my scraper just to give it a smooth around, and it'll get rid of all those air bubbles. Now, the other thing is I've got some gaps in the actual cake itself, and you'll be able to see it on the camera. And because I'm retaining the buttercream that's on here, I can go and select each of the colors just to fill that in with an offset spatula. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to have a look where we're at. So that's towards the top. So I'm going to fill in this little one here because I don't want to ruin that beautiful effect that we created. And make sure you scrape off as well your scraper in between. Oh, Kiki, you're just so barky. Everyone's going, see, that'll teach you for getting a small dog. Okay. A little bit more here and there. Just taking it easy because I don't want to ruin the great effect that we created just then. And then clean off your scraper and then grab the other colors that you wanted to fill in. So I wanted a little bit more of this one here. Again, I'm just really, really careful. And then I also want some of this top one right here, like so. Now what I might do is take the opportunity to cover in the top as well. Now I was quite generous with the buttercream on the inside as well, and we're being quite generous with the outside. Now I don't know about you guys where you are, but over here we do much more buttercream on our cakes than what I see a lot of overseas people do it. The customers love it. It's just what they want. And if you don't put enough, they're going to call you stingy. So we're not going to be stingy with this one. Just tidying up that edge there. I'll clean off the top in a second. All right, am I happy with that? All right, now what's left here, I'm going to pop it in the bowl so that my blade is clean. And then I'm going to go around again and try and tidy that up a little bit more. Nice and gently. Try and keep your scraper at the same height, the same distance all the way around. I keep on catching on something right there. Must be something on the board. Now this can happen to you as well. So all you need to do is just fill in what you've gouged out. And I have literally gouged it out. It's probably a really good example of how you can fix it up at home. Scrape off that excess. And now this time I'm actually going to grab this and force down whatever's happening on the side here of this board. There we go. Problemo solved. All right. Last scrape around. One big sweep just to avoid any lines. And we're going to stop. Yay! I love the ombre effect. How cool is that? Scrape that off, put these aside. And just with my offset spatula, I'm just going to tidy up the top edge a little bit. Did have a bit too much pink on there, didn't I? It's all right, no judgment. Now, you're also wondering why there is so much buttercream on the outside. It probably ends up being just over 1/2 centimetre thick. Because we need to pop in some details and I really want them to be secured into place. Apart from the fact that it's just delicious to eat. I love it. All right, reasonably tidy, a little bit messy on the edge, but it's all good. So now I want to have a look at where's my favorite side will be my presentation side. So for me at the moment, it'd probably be round about there. And what I've got here is a little ice cream cone. And this is a waffle cone. You can buy them from the supermarket. They are cheap as chips. They come like in a packet of 10. And there's lots of different ways that you can try to chip out the back of it. And the reason why I've done it is because I want to actually push this into the cake. If I were to keep the cone all the way around, it would stick out and it would kind of form this sort of shape, but instead I wanted to sit in properly because we're going to fill it a little bit. Now I did first of all try with a serrated knife to cut it out the waffle cone, and it didn't work. And then I went, you know, I'm going to be smart about this. You know, when you're eating and just kind of chipping away, that's exactly the same thing. So with my fingers, I just chipped away at the space and I got it perfect the first time. So highly recommend, don't go fancy, don't go looking for sharp knives. Just sit there with your fingers and go pick, 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 pick all the way down, and then you've got your little cone. All right. We're going to pop that into place. Where do we want it? We're going to put it here. Now the idea is that I want the cone to reach around about the close to the top. So I'm going to leave a bit of space down the bottom. So almost like it's hovering on the cake. So in order to do that, I'm going to turn it around for me at the moment. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say to you is with the waffle cone, because this one goes higher at the back, I intentionally, and I also wanted the detail of the actual waffle here at the front. So if I can actually show that to you, I wanted to make sure that that was kept at the front. So when I chopped it, I only chopped the back section that came up. Okay, so I'm going to pop this into place. I'm going to lean down. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm 6'3" and my benches have been specifically raised for me. I'm going to measure that up probably about a centimetre all the way down. And then I'm going to push it into the cake. So I hope you guys can actually see that. I bring it around the camera. Push it in so it is secure into place. There we go. So we've got that little front section happening. And because I actually cut it so it's almost straight on those edges, it hasn't gouged out the buttercream. So even on the side, I've got no bulging that's happened. And it's secure in place and ready for me to go. Now you could, and I did bring some, you could actually fill it with something, but provided whatever you put in there is really, really light. So even if you wanted to, I think a really cool thing would be to fill it up with sprinkles. But I'm going to pop a little marshmallow or so in there. So, you know, whatever little kid gets into this, they're going to go, oh my God, Mummy, look, there's a marshmallow in there. Plus the other reason I'm using the marshmallows is that when I put our decorations up next, it has something to stab into and it's something really light. So it's almost like edible styrofoam. Nom, 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 nom. Aren't these cute? Plus it looks like the colours of the actual cake itself. Okay, I reckon that's pretty secure into place. So while we have a little break and have a little word from our sponsors, I'm going to clean up our bench and get ready for the next bit. So see you in a minute. And we're back. That was super quick, wasn't it? Yay! So in the meantime, I've managed to clean down the bench, get the kids to look after the dog so she doesn't go bow, 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 bow every 5 minutes. In the meantime, what I've done is I've prepared a little bit of gold petal dust here, which I'll just show it to you on the camera, with some rose spirit in it. If you don't use rose spirit, you can't use rose spirit, you can use lemon essence, will work almost as well. And you can also buy products that you now can just paint directly on. So this one's actually over the top gold. It's a nice luminescent gold and it looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. And the most important thing is it is completely edible. So what I wanted to do was, and I'm going to turn the camera around for you in a second, is that little ice cream cone, I'm now going to paint it in gold. Why? Because I can. No, I thought I'd do something a little bit different and have a little bit of fun with it. You could even have the gold dripping down. You could do chocolate drips coming off it. This is just off the top of my head. What else could you do? You can roll sprinkles around the edges. That would look amazing. I'll just show you guys what I'm doing here so you can start to see a little bit of that gold coming through. Might just work this way. Hopefully I've got enough gold. If not, I'm just going to have to run off on you in a second and go and get some more. Just trying to add like a little bit of element of prettiness. I think everyone can do with a bit of a smile these days, can't we? I know I can. And we got our kids went back to school this week. So we're all a little bit freaked out. That's the first thing the kids wanted. Mum, can we go to McDonald's? Okay, Mama submitted and we went to McDonald's. And give that a little bit more color just down the end here. Now I make sure I always decant out the silver into a different bowl because we are contaminating the product and it won't go back into the container. Oh wow, that looks so pretty. And don't forget your edges when you're doing this as well. Now, probably from an angle, we might see little bits that I've missed, but we'll get back into it later. Just going to touch up here just in case you can just see the edges. I'm all about the details. I definitely don't want certain details seen. Okay, there we go. So we've made the cone all very pretty in the gold. And because we've used the rose spirit, within a couple of moments that will be dry. And the great thing about this is even if you pop it into the fridge with a buttercream cake, you're going to do that anyway, the actual cone itself isn't going to go soft and soggy. And the fact that we've only just resting it in there, those sections might become a little bit soft, but the outside will stay nice and hard and crunchy. You could even do this with a cannoli. You could do pastries. This is just an idea. All right, so what have I got here? We have a nice little selection. Let's see if I can move this over for you because she can sit here doing her own thing for a little while. You can go and find whatever you want. So the reason why I thought of this was that I had seen one with the ice cream cone on top, which Kate Sabbath, I think most of you guys know, and it was about having a little bit of a play. I like the ones with the ice cream cones all the way around as well, but because most of these will be small cakes, so this is a 6-inch cake, but maybe a small cake, a 5-inch will do. Imagine if you've got like little baby cones, that would be so cute, and you can plop them all over and shove something into them. Originally, I was going to do some fresh flowers and some wafer butterflies on them. And then, I don't know what it's like around the rest of the world at the moment, is it's very hard to get roses and certain flowers, and especially the ones that I like. And they're not in season in Australia because we are going into winter. So everything needs to be imported. So what ended up happening is that from our point of view, you literally cannot get roses. And if you do, they're like $35, $40 for tiny little bunches of them. And I thought, you know what? I love making wafer paper. I'll just make a whole bunch with the leftover petals that I had. And I thought that would create a really, really good effect. So what I've got here is I've made a couple of little wafer paper roses like these ones here. So I'll bring them up to the camera so you can see them. Just add in a little bit more color. So I've kind of stayed on the same color palette. I went a little ballistic with the yellow, but I've decided as I sit here now, I'm going, the yellow might not make it onto the cake because I think that's too in your face, unless I were to paint them over in gold. So I've blended in a little bit more. But that's just to show you. And the reason also I've chosen the wafer paper is because it is so light. I don't want to put too much pressure into this front section because I don't want it coming off the cake. The theory would be that the cake doesn't really travel because no one's going anywhere at the moment, but even for home, I don't want to add that additional weight. Plus, I love the lightness of the wafer paper. It's almost translucent. So these literally, I have made them 10-15 minutes ago, and they were just with leftover petals that I had lying around. I then raided my pantry, my larder, as they say, and I had some beautiful meringues. Now, I love making meringues. Anyone in Australia will tell you anything starting with an M. So I'm like obsessed with macarons, marshmallows, meringues. Someone down the bottom will probably post, oh, Monica, marshmallows or whatever. But there is a recipe also for the meringues on my website. There's 2 recipes. There's a French meringue and an Italian meringue. It depends on how much work that you want to do. I always say as a beginner, start out with a French meringue. And then if you decide that you really love meringues and you want to start upping your game, then move onto the Italian meringue. It's a really great staple. And we bake them until they're really, really dry. So for us, meringues will last 3 months in a airtight container in the pantry. So when I make them, even if I'm making them for a client, I'll make a lot of them. So I've always got extras. So even if I'm going to do like a fully loaded drip cake, or I'm doing a pretty little girl cake, I'll have lots of different things that I can pick out of my pantry to add on to the cake. So in this particular case, I had a sultan tip. I had some cute little hearts here. Oh, and some little kisses. And who doesn't love the little kisses? I love the kisses. And I also flavor them. So I know you guys can't taste them here, but this little white one here is elderflower. The pink is strawberry, and the darker pink is watermelon flavored. So I try and make them as delicious as possible. And I had one lonely little mango flavored one left. I'm hoping this might actually make it onto the cake, but if my husband cruises by, he might inhale it as he goes, because my husband's favorite thing in the world is my meringues, and they don't tend to last long. And I can hear my son coming. No, Massimo, you cannot have the meringue. Are you going to? No, I need them. I need them for the cake. I'm so sorry, you can't have any. Can I make a promise to you? When I'm finished, if there's one left over, it's yours. Yeah, can I have a little kiss? Love you. All right, so how I like to pop, I gotta listen to running down the house, boom, 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 boom. All right, how I like to pop them onto the cake, because we want to stick to food safety, is using toothpicks. Some people might use wires. We try and avoid them as much as possible. So if you're very gentle with a meringue, I had already stabbed that one, but I'll just show them to you. Hopefully I'll be able to do this on camera. With the sharp end, I'm going to put them in on an angle, just because that's how they're going to go into the cake. Just turn and twist very gently, and you might actually get it in there without splitting it. There you go. And now I have a meringue. So even if I were to say I want this meringue to be here on the side of the cake, sorry, I might move that into camera, so that might be a smarter idea. If I wanted it into the cake, it would be a really great idea, especially if it's like something large that needs to sit out on the side, like a macaron. If you pop a little toothpick through it, you can pop it directly into the cake. Now, obviously, you need to let your client know that there's toothpicks in the cake, because there are some silly buggers out there. And with the wafer paper flowers, what I've done is some of them have a tiny little ball of fondant inside them, tiny little ball. The only reason I put them into place is the same thing, so I can stick a little skewer. Actually, I've got exactly the same thing but longer, because I wanted some of these to get a bit of height. So I'm looking to make these ones kind of a little bit puffy up here, because then you can pop a topper on top, a happy birthday, shove a candle in, and off you go, right? All right, so what else have I got? Oh, I've got the hiccups, I'm sorry. I've made a couple of little wafer leaves. So I'd add in a little bit of green. I don't know if I'm going to use all of these things. All I did was literally prepare a few bits and pieces that I had lying around. Oh, I wanted to show you these ones as well. So I had some wafer paper butterflies. I know they've been around for like ever, but for some reason they're still incredibly popular. And even yesterday we did a class here as a private lesson, and they wanted wafer butterflies on there. I was like, oh, okay, so they're back on trend. So I had a couple of those too. And then I also stamped and made a few of my own, just for something different. Again, I don't know if they're going to make it onto the cake, because as I said in my last classes and my workshops, it just depends on where the cake actually wants to take you. And quite often, even though the best laid plans quite often go awry, as they say, I'll pick something else and completely different at the time. So what I wanted to do was start to have a look at, because I have a couple of big blooms that I really wanted to put on the cake. So the idea was for me, and I might just bring this in a little bit now to be able to see it. Hang on. Move this over. And I also have some extra petals, because later on I wanted to have the idea that we had like a little bit of a bloom here, as if it was a bouquet in a cake cone, or sorry, an ice cream cone, but then have some petals coming down the side. So I might pop a couple little meringues in, as if they're kind of cascading down one side of the cake. That was the idea in my head. It doesn't mean it's going to come out that way, but we'll see how we go. All right, so I've got this large one. So I'm thinking maybe this one could probably go quite tall, and then I can fill in, or I can put this one in the middle, fill in all around it. So the choice is mine now. So grabbing my skewer, I'm going to stab the back of my flower. Actually, do I want to go on an angle? I do. And I might go this way. So I go on an angle. Good girl. All right. So now I have the flour on the stick, and I can even slide that one into the cake. I'm just going to check the proportions and the measurements. All right. And then I've got my trusty little cutters here, because it is a little bit longer than what I needed. Just going to take a little bit off the end. I've got the flour ready to go. So I can either place that into the marshmallow, or for this one here, because it is a larger one, I'm going to go directly into the cake. I'm going to leave this one suspended a little bit up in the air. So I've got the first one in. Now I might bring that over just a tad more, so first of all we can see it on both cameras. A bit hard when you do a taller cake, isn't it? Where's working for you? Yeah, sort of there, but it's a bit harder for me now. Guaranteed, being typical Italian, my hands move 50 million times, I'm going to gouge the cake. Guaranteed. Let's see if I can avoid doing that today. There's no promises. All right, so I have this really cute little heart meringue. Look at this one. I've managed to get a toothpick into it earlier because I had this idea that I wanted this one kind of coming out the side, like so. Now it's up to you how you want to dress it. I'm just having a little bit of fun. These are like all little ideas in my head as to, what do I feel like doing? Oh, I want to do this or I want to do that. I don't know if this one's going to work, but let's see if I can get the stick gently into it. You're going to let me? You are. Oh, you legend. So again, this one I'm going to, just like the little heart on the other side, I'm going to get that little sultan in there. So now I'm starting to build that front of it, so it's starting to look like it's coming out like an ice cream cone of ice cream, but this is flowers and meringues. You could have macarons as well on picks and sticks, and marshmallows. Oh, there's a 3Ms again. All right, so now what else have we got? We've got this really cool pink flower and this one here. So which ones do I want to use? Now don't forget guys, this is recorded. Oh, that is perfect. Look at that. All right, so I'm going to turn this around for you guys. If I pop that into there, that's going to look absolutely awesome. So I'm going to add that into now, and I shall put a toothpick in it while you guys are going to go off to the break in a couple of moments. And then we'll get back and finish decorating. See you in a minute. So while you were gone, it actually gave us the chance to review, and we thought we better change the camera angle for you so you can actually see the cake a lot better rather than just on the top view. So it worked out really to our advantage, wasn't it? And then because I said the macarons before, it really got me thinking. I thought, wouldn't it be so cool if we had a couple of macarons? So I've run out to the freezer and I've grabbed a handful of shells. I've just popped a bit of buttercream in them and I've chilled them down so they're firm enough for me to be able to continue decorating. So while you're also gone, I've stabbed this little flower through and I'm going to pop that one just here at the front. So I'll probably pop in details and then I'll turn it around and show you each one as I do it. So there's the next one. And if I don't like it, I'll just give it a bit of a yank. There we go. So I've got the second little flower into place and that's looking so pretty. Do you ever make cakes and then you don't want them to leave? This happens to me all the time. I'm like notorious for it. So now what I wanted to do is I think I'm going to add another flower into this little section here. And I've got a couple of options and I was playing around. So I could either go with one of these little swirl wafer papers, which actually looks really awesome, Or I can add one of these ones in, which also looks awesome. Okay, now I'm conflicted. If I put that one in, it allows me, all right, we'll go with this one. The only reason being is that then I have a little bit more room to be able to put more things in after. So let's grab a skewer. Did I have extra, or do I have extra? Of course I've got extra skewers. Silly Monica. Actually, where's that one going? I might be able to do that one with just a toothpick. So again, because the wafer paper is so light, all I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at the angle. I'm popping a little bit of a hole through it, and that is it. And I've done it on an angle so that it's easy for me to thread it in and it will stay into place as to where I want it. So I'm going to pop this one just here, slightly underneath the petals, so you'll see it in a second. There we go. Now I'm leaving room to be able to start to build in a couple of more little details in there. So this is really up to the eye of the beholder as to some of the details that you want to put in there. I've also seen that the toothpick has come through, but I'll fix that up after. I have this cute little heart here on a stick. I think that would be really cute just down the front. So that one I might be able to just thread in. Is that going to work for me? No, I'm going to have to do something different with that. All right, so now what I want to do is the macarons. So I wanted like one coming out the top. Actually, I want one coming out. No, where do I want? Okay, yeah, there. I'll have one coming out the top and then maybe another one on the other side. So if you're looking at it from this angle, probably one just up here and then something else over here and maybe one coming down the bottom. So I'll grab a longer stick this time. Grab your prettiest looking Mac. That looks pretty damn good to me. I'm going to stab it through gently without breaking it. Is this going to work for me? No, there's still two. No. We'll do it a different way. All right, that's going to have to do. It's like a cake pop stick, isn't it? I would highly recommend if you're doing this that you're... There he goes, pew, across the bench. I'd highly recommend that you use ganache rather than buttercream. I just did this in a hurry because literally I was talking about it and I thought, oh, how cool would it be? So we'll pop a little macaron there so you guys can see it front on. And then maybe another one just down on the other side. I reckon that would be really, really cool as well. I'll use a toothpick for that one. Grab little details. You're going to stay put? Good girl. All right. I'm going to pop that one in behind. Oh, I'm not stabbing through anything. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pop it in. No, that's not going to work for me. All right. I've got an idea. I'm going to take out that little flower that I had put on before. I'll pop that macaron in there, like so. And then I'm going to pop that little, get rid of that. All right, is anybody like me who changes their mind on things like 300 times? Me! I always tell people, don't overthink it. Too late, I'm overthinking it. Oh, that's better. There we go. All right, so how's that looking? Oh my God, how pretty is that? Oh, the macarons were a really great idea, guys. Well done. I like that a lot. All right, so I want something else just here and now. So what else could we possibly use? And you're probably all screaming at the screen and I can't hear you because I'm not there. I've got a couple of smaller little flowers. I intentionally made some little ones. And I've got some that I've also stabbed through already on a toothpick, ready to go. So we could potentially, yep, so that works. All right, that really works. So grabbing a little toothpick. Again, these little wafer paper flowers that I had made earlier, I had intentionally added in just a little ball of gum paste. So just to make it easier for me when I wanted to place it into place. And this is where it's really cool that I did the marshmallows. I'm just going to shove that in there without trashing the place too much. You're going to stay? You're going to stay. I'm going to turn that around for you to see. So now we've got this bouquet happening out of the ice cream cone. And it just needs one or two more. I've only got a couple of these with a little bit darker colour. And I thought they would really pop. Let's see if I can get another one. Have I got another one? I do, because I made a whole bunch of these. I literally just use the colours that I had around. So when you're working with these kinds of things, just try and stick to the colour palette. And this is like shades of pink. So I wouldn't mind adding in just one more into here, just so it matches There we go. We can see that pinky purple coming through. Now, looking at it from your angle, I can see the stick a bit too much here, eh? That's good actually having the camera there because give me an opportunity to see what's going on. So this is really about placement now, isn't it? So what I like to do now is, for me, that is almost finished. What I'd like to do here is just add in a couple of little details. So a couple of the petals as if they were coming down. I have some sprinkles here as well. Maybe a couple of the pink or the white ones. I don't know how crazy I'm going to go. And I had some loose petals. So these are petals that were left over. And I thought these would be really cool to just kind of pop or push into the buttercream with their natural curl. So it looks like the petals have kind of fallen. And I might pop a couple on the board as well. So I'm looking at putting some down there. So what else could we possibly use? Let's have a look. So we've got a little macaron here. We'll pop a little macaron on the side. Like so. So starting to give little details here in the cake. Oh, I went too far. And now a couple of these little petals. All I'm going to do is I'll try and bring this around a little bit so you can see it. I'm just going to thread them into the buttercream as if they're falling down. Can even stick them on the buttercream like so. So it looks like the petals are kind of falling out of my little bouquet. Oh, they're looking so pretty. Actually, I've decided I think I like them better when they're sitting down. That's it. Yeah, that looks better. Don't stick them in the buttercream, just lean them against it. It looks so much better. And I'll pop this one onto here. So it looks like the first one that's coming out. Here we go. So we have some little details as if they're coming down. And it could do with, because we've used a couple of meringues, and we can either pop a little meringue here on the side, and that will sit really well in the buttercream. So you got your little heart happening, little meringue heart. And maybe one little wafer paper flower on the bottom. So because we use those darker colours on the top, we could probably get away with, let me have a look. Yes, 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 yes. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Me lucky. I'm going to move that up a little bit. And I'm going to try and stick this one right there. There we go. And stop. I'm notorious for putting too much on the cake. So yes, I can add in some of the beads. Yes, I can add in some of the other details, but I've got to be totally and utterly honest with you. I think we just about have it. Would I add in another flower? No, I wouldn't. And I think the macaron just there fallen is just perfect. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was a really simple but effective little thing that you can do at home. And it's all made with Italian meringue buttercream, so there's no purchase. You can make it from home, from scratch. The recipe is available on my website, so please feel free to go and grab it. Lots and lots of people use it. It is such a good winner. If you haven't tried Italian meringue before, I do put some handy tips in there as well. But I'm happy also to answer any questions too. So guys, all I'm going to say to you is, again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to mix it up each week and try to show you different ideas and different things. So we've done isomalt, we've done a bit of wafer paper, and we've done buttercream and buttercream piping. You're just going to have to stay tuned to find out what little bit of mischief I'm going to get up to next week. So thanks a lot, guys. Take it easy. Mwah. Thanks, Paul and David. Bye.